Aloha, Rich Halverson here. This is ITS128, and this is January 28th, Tuesday, and I'm recording this video a couple hours earlier because I can't attend the normal class time today. Today, I think I would just like to go over the last time we ended in the middle of chapter 2. I think this time, for this shortened video, I'm just going to finish up. Um, I'm going to do some labs in chapter 2. So let me share my screen. Let's see this one. And here we are. Okay, so here's the syllabus. And we got up to somewhere in chapter 2. With these labs, there are required labs, and then there are labs where you can choose. You choose 7 out of 11 or 7 out of 20 or some number. The ones that do not have asterisks, they're not required. You just have to choose which ones you want to do. The asterisk ones are required. Most labs there'll be videos for, and the videos will take you up to various steps in the lab. There's the lab or two. There's a lab or two that I don't give you really any help on, and those labs are they aren't going to count very much for your grade because they're just a lab, and labs are a very small percentage of your grade. But those labs are used for us to evaluate ourselves and how well we're presenting the material to you, and for you to generalize and apply it to new problems and so on. So let's go straight to lab 12.2. I'm going to use this one here. Let me put this down. Okay, so we got up to, I think we talked about division and modulo. I'll come back to these later when the time comes, maybe when it's relevant in the lab. But let's do this one here. 2.12, it's required. I think the asterisk just means it's oh, this is a practice lab. Okay. With a practice lab, um, with the practice lab, we actually give you the solution. Okay. So we give you the solution. All right. So why don't you try to do the practice lab yourself? All right. So I'm gonna skip this one because the solution is provided for you. Maybe I should have had that one later. Anyway, okay. So let's go on to the next one. This one is expression for calories burned during workout. Okay. One of the main things that you're going to have to know how to do, um, a programmer, this is a programmer now, this is not a mathematician, this is a programmer. You have to take an expression. Expression is this right side of the equal sign here, this expression, and convert that into a one-liner that the computer can understand. And you might not end up doing one liner. You might end up splitting it up into pieces and then adding them all up together at the end or something. But so that's really what this is about. Okay, so let's take this equation. They don't make it so you can. Oh, here, look at that. They put it here in the comment. We're supposed to print it out this way. So I'm just gonna copy this dude. I know it's gonna be down here somewhere. And we have to convert this thing that looks more like how a mathematician would write it, but it's not, it doesn't, Python won't understand this. Why? Because here we see we're using an X for multiplication, and and these variable names, like this one's okay, but this one's not okay because it's got a space in there. So maybe we'll put an underscore there. All right, so let's start by just and we are reading in age, weight, heart rate, and time. So we're inputting these things: age, weight, heart rate, and time. Okay, so first of all, let's input those, and there it's one line at a time. So I'm going to say, okay, so I tell you what, I'm going to take this thing here. I'm going to take this thing. and I'm gonna copy it, and I'm gonna put it right down here. And I'm going to convert this into, I'm going to start by converting this into a Python equation. Okay, so, here we have a capital C, but notice here, when we're writing it out, where you're writing it out as a lowercase c, it doesn't matter which is which. You know what, I better change it to the way, I better leave it the way they have it. So I'm going to change this to a lowercase c. Why? Because case counts. And now the rest of these don't need, they can stay uppercase. I'm going to make this, and put an underscore here because I can't have a space, but you can have an underscore. Oh, I'm going to make this an asterisk. I'm going to make this an asterisk, and this one, and this one. And I'm going to have, these are what my inputs are going to be. So I'm going to have age, capital now, equals input, and I'm going to come back to the type in a moment. I'm going to say weight equals input, and I'm going to say heart rate equals input, and I'm going to say time equals input. Now that's not enough because these are all integers, aren't they? They look like integers, but I guess so I got to convert them into floating point sometime or another. Oh, they are going to be floating point because we're multiplying them by floating point numbers. So that's going to automatically turn that into a floating point number. If these were integers and then these were integers, if they're all integers with nothing to the right, with no decimal point, then this is going to end up being that. But in this case, it shouldn't matter. So, but what I do need to do is at least, well, I'm going to say it. Let's see if this works. Float. See, I have to say these are integers or floating points, but I'm going to say float and see if this works. I think it will, even though we're not inputting something with a decimal point. See where I'm getting at here? I could just make these integers, and then it'll get converted in this expression. But I'm going to see if I can input them as floating point integers. If float works on things that don't have an decimal point. Um, hmm. All right, so I'm going to run this because that's it. See, we input them, we do this expression on them, and then the result goes there, and then we print it out. So I'm going to run it, and now it's sitting here. Now it's waiting for me to, ah, ha, ha. Okay, this looks like a dash. It's not. It's a special character. So I'm going to replace it with a dash. See, it didn't like that character. Let's try it again. Uh, okay, looks like it's waiting for my input. Okay, I'm going to try to run. I'm going to say 49, 155, 148, 60. And it says that. And that's exactly what it's supposed to say. Well, you should be testing more than just one case, but this looks good for me. To me, this looks good. I'm going to submit this for grading, and I got all the points. Very good. All right, let's do the next one. Ordering round table pizza. Round table pizza. Hmm. Okay. Round Table Pizza in Kailua sells large specialty pizzas for $35.99. Given the number of pizzas to order as input, so we're going to input a number of pizzas to order, and we're going to output a subtotal for the pizzas, and then we're going to output a total after applying a general excise tax of 4.712. Okay, so output each of the floating point. Okay, so then we're going to use that. All right, great. So the input 3, it outputs that. Oh, I have to type my code. Okay. So I got to input, all right, so I'm going to start by inputting the number of pizzas. Input 3. Okay, so I'm going to say num pizzas equals int of input like that. And then I'm going to say uh, subtotal equals num pizzas times 35.99 because that's how much they cost a piece. And then that's what subtotal is. And then I'm going to, general excise tax is going to be, so I'm going to say GET equals subtotal times, this is percent. So I'm going to do, well, doesn't matter. 4.712 divided by 100. That'll work. Okay, so that this is the general excise tax. And I multiply that by the subtotal, and that gives me the tax. And then I say that I'm going to call it your value. Your value, because I'm being dumb, your value equals, and of course, you probably want to put total, but I'm just going to do that because then I can use this here just the way it is. Oh, wait a second. This is subtotal. Ah, never mind. Okay, so let's print out this. Okay, so I'm gonna say total. So I'm not gonna be dumb. See, can I just did I copy that? Yes, I did. Okay, wait a minute. Oops. Total equals subtotal plus GT. Okay, so that's the total. And first I got to print out the number of pizzas, and so I'll print out. So I'm gonna do 3. It doesn't matter where you do the print, but maybe I'll do it right here. Print, and I'm going to do, I guess I'll do this F thing. Pizzas, colon, space, $, num pizzas, and I think I don't need to do anything else. This is an integer I'm printing out, so I just need to do that. It's not dollars. Okay. And then I want to do something that looks like this here. Copy this after subtotal. It doesn't matter when we do this, but I'm just kind of doing it right. Know it. And total is printed out here. Okay. So we read in the number of pizzas printed out. Read in the number of pizzas printed out. Compute the subtotal, then print out the subtotal. Compute the tax, add the tax to the subtotal, and then call that the total, and we'll print the total. So this is, oops, this is going to be total do. Okay, so that's what it should look like. Let's run this and see what happens. And I'm going to put, it's hard to see here. Okay, I guess it's waiting for me. I'm going to put 3 and print it out that. Is that what it says the answer is? Well, I guess it is. Okay. Well, let's submit for grading. And I got the points. All right, very good. Okay. What's next? Okay, well here, I guess we're gonna need to study modules. We're gonna look at the module section, and what we're gonna learn here, let's just cover this quick. Modules, I'm gonna try to do this in all in 5 minutes. Okay, with modules, you can up at the top, you can import uh, you can input a file that's got some Python methods in it, and then you can use those methods. So now they're starting to tell you this that we don't need to learn yet. Okay, so here, specifically, for example, uh, in the lab that we're about to do, we're going to import this math module. And all we got to do is up at the top, we say import math. And then once we do that, there are these methods that we have at our disposal. Here's one that'll do square root, another one that'll do square root. So here's the math module that we're going to import. And so there's a square root function, but there's a bunch more. There's a ceiling function, which rounds up the value. There's a factorial function. There's a remainder of division function, which is same as mod. There's a exponent, or it's e to the x. X is what you input. Here's a power function, raise x to the y power. Anyway, so these are all a bunch of math functions that you get when you import the math module. And you say math dot and then the name of the function and then that. Okay, so that's what we need to know. Let's go to the lab we were looking at. And it's this last one. And so we're given 3 floating point numbers, x, y, and z. And we're supposed to output x to the power of z, x to the power of y to the power of z, and then the absolute value of x minus y, and the square root of x. Okay, so all right, here we go. We're going to have this print statement here. Copy. And I'm going to paste that there. And let's see. So and then I'm going to input x, y, and z. Okay, so I'm going to say input. And I guess these are all floating point numbers. So input, oops, x equals float input. Okay, and y equals float input. And z equals float input. Okay, and then your value, I'm going to use your value 1, your value 2, your value 3, your value 4, just because I'm going to be dumb here. The first one is to output x to the power of z. Okay, so your value 1 is equal to POW X, Z. Okay, let's see if we can time is it's kind of late. I gotta get out of here. I'm referring to these here. Let's do this fancy thing. On this side, I'm put this one. Okay, so pow, x to the, okay, raise the power of y. Next one, your value 2 is equal to, it's this one here, x to the power of that. So it's equal to power of x to the power of POW y comma z. See, so first it's going to do this one. First it's going to do this one here. And then it's going to raise, then after it gets that value, it's going to raise x to that power, and that's what it's going to store here. And that's what this does here. First it does y to the power of z, and then it takes, that's the exponent that it uses on x. Okay, so that's your value 2. Your value 3 is the absolute value of x minus y. So we're just going to do FABS. Is that what it is? Okay. All right. So I guess it's FABS. FABS of x minus y. Okay, that's what your value 3 is, and your value 4 is equal to the square root of x to the power of z. So it's going to be, oh shoot, so I got to put math in front of these. Math. Oops. Math. Math. I believe I have to do this. Quite sure I have to do this. Sometimes you don't. I'll get to that later. And the last one is math. SQRT, parentheses, PO, math, POW, x to the power of z. Okay? And the parentheses are already in there. So SQRT, where is... Here it is. Okay, so okay, so I'm gonna run this. 5 point, okay, let me just run this. Okay, it's ready, waiting for me. 5.0, 1.5, 3.2. Da-da, 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 da-da. All right. Let me submit for grading. And there you go. Okay, so I have shown you how to do the labs in chapter 2. And so have a good day, and I will make one more video before next Tuesday to cover more of chapter 3. Okay, thanks for watching.